because the whole not sure if I had it or not.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
I
just kind of like extra cautious, I guess.
I got my girlfriend and I got lucky that despite us getting it in different places because we weren't together at
Yeah,
the
you got it
time,
at the same time.
we got it at the same time. So we were like, yeah, okay.
That's hilarious. It is. Does this work anymore? No, of
Yeah.
course not. Of course not. We got some things to discuss today. Couple things. I can be angry at Sony and some stuff that you wrote about on Warner Brothers, but all that comes after a look at the box office here on the Daily Cup of Genre. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome back to the show. I'll explain where we've been the last week or so, but here on the Genreverse Podcast Network and YouTube channel, follow us on whatever app you're listening on right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. And on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscription button. Go ahead, please, guys. Hey, thank you so much for everyone that has subscribed so far, because we just broke 500 followers. So thank you, subscribers, I should say. Thank you guys very much for that. I'm Kyle. That's Manny. Whatever I forgot, I'm sure I'll pick up at the end. But yeah, what's up, man? It's been a while.
I'm just laughing because that phrase that you said. Oh, and I work for two TV news stations. So it's like when you're like, at first I thought you were gonna say, "Look at the weather." And it just, I was like, "Why are we looking at?" And for a second, my brain's like, "Why are we looking at the weather?" And I thought that was hilarious.
Very carefully.
But
let us examine.
Yeah. So this weekend I watched Pearl.
You did. How'd you like that? That's it takes place in the same realm as A24's popular X.
Yes. I wonder why it's popular. Anyway, it was very well done. It's very different than X. It's shot different than X, and Mia Goth is fantastic. She's able to really convey emotion very well and go from like 0 to 100 real quick.
That's a good talent to have.
Yeah. For that movie, she I can see why Ty West kept her there, and so now we wait for the third film. And A24, man, just I love their kinds of films so much. Like you don't even have to tell me what film it is. Just tell me that it's A24, and I'm like, all right, we're there. Because so some people might not I got cat hair. Yep, that's cat hair.
Cats are great.
Anyway, so it was great. And then I came home. It was about 10:30 at night. And I screened Hellraiser.
Ooh.
Coming up on
Hulu movie.
Yeah, coming up on Hulu.
How'd you like that?
I can't tell you yet.
Oh, okay.
But all I will tell you, and this is not giving anything away because it's Hellraiser. Number one, why? Number two, why? And number three, not the kind of movie you want to watch before you go to
bed. Had you seen the original? No,
yeah, I knew exactly what I was getting into.
Did you ever read the book?
Oh no, it's not my cup of tea.
Got it.
As far as that kind of genre, period. I don't understand why.
Why not? Brian over at does AVR Anime-Versal Reviews with us. For those that might not know, we do have anime content. He's a huge fan and was anxious and is anxiously awaiting that particular film to hit. He's very interested in it. He said everything that he's read, interviews that he's heard, and like just everything about it. He's stoked, and he is a Cenobites, whatever the fuck. Sorry about the F-bomb. He is all about it. He loves himself some Hellraiser. So I'm curious as to what he will end up thinking.
Yeah, so like I'll talk a little bit about it, but not till the 28th. That's when I can. it's funny
That's
because I
when you can talk,
want to,
yeah.
but it's like I'm not supposed to. Oh, speaking of books, I did pick up my next read, which is Heat 2.
Okay.
I've heard so many people talk really good things about this. It takes place right after the first film. It's by Michael Mann.
And they're doing the sequel movie as well, or at least they wanted to. There was some buzz about it a month or two ago.
Right. And I've seen a lot of my friends that were reading this, and they're praising it, how it's really good. I posted a picture of it on, I think it was on my Instagram, and I got a lot of positive feedback that I was not going to be disappointed in the book. So
Nice.
we'll see. I took a little break from horror because I was reading a lot of horror books, and I was like, yeah, I want to change it up a little bit. So I know I've actually read quite a few books this year, and it's very
I
exciting.
wish I
Actually,
could read more.
I
get so tired from screens and reading and writing for this stuff. It's hard. I can only read like a few pages at a time.
I think it's
don't
I
know
like
why.
stare at screens all day, whether that's at
Yeah.
work or here. So that for about 20-30 minutes, it's really nice to just kind of sit back and not.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. Yeah, I hope Hellraiser's good. I want to watch Pearl.
It's
Trying hard to get into the holiday spirit, but given, Christine catching COVID, basically what we think from our son, because he was sent home with a letter that said he was exposed, and then a day or two later he started feeling ill. He tested negative, but false negatives happened, and then Christine got real ill. I had like one day of a slight tickle in my throat for a few hours at night, and then some minor headaches the last few days, not counting today, but nothing more than like, might be allergies or like altitude change or something, even though my altitude didn't change. That type of symptoms for me. But she got sick enough that one day she spent pretty much the whole day in bed, but she's gotten up and about the last couple. So
that's good.
it's been hard to kind of get into and then school started 3 weeks ago, and there's always rough transition for all of that, but hopefully I'll be able to get into the good holiday spooky spirit, because, well, fuck, man, and there goes another F-bomb. I'm really needed. I want us to grow, and in order to grow, we gotta curse less, but we're not gonna, I don't have the patience to go censor stuff, so just whatever. Sorry, kids.
And I don't know if you know this also, but October 11th, Crunchyroll, Chainsaw Man episode 1.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm tracking Chainsaw Man, and I am tracking, of course, Spy Family, which we will be doing here on the YouTube channel for AVR Squared, reacting to Spy Family, as well as reacting to Chainsaw Man when it hits, and then wherever you get your podcast from, the reviews go up as part of AVR. So yeah, I'm stoked about Chainsaw Man. It looks. Are you gonna give it a shot? Or are you gonna give it a look?
I want to the trailer looked interesting enough, and I've seen quite a few cosplays that I'm like, man, like this actually is kind of cool. They went above and beyond with that.
For the gore alone, Manny, you must check it out.
It looks like it's gonna be pretty good. It should be pretty good. I'll give it a shot. The only thing though is I don't know if I want to pay for Crunchyroll. So you pay for too many things, man.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah. We can talk a little bit more about. Well, you know what? What are we at? 9:20. So over on the box office side of things, guys, a lot of new movies this week. We had 3 new movies that all had relatively notable titles: The Woman King, Pearl, and See How They. Excuse me. See How They Run. All 3 crap performances compared to what you would normally expect. The Woman King topping out the weekend at 19 million. Again, guys, go see movies. I know these aren't necessarily all the biggest, titles out there, but that's rough, man. Barbarian, which was number one last week, fell down to number 2, took in 6. Pearl and See How They Run each brought in 3.1 million. Bullet Train bringing in 2.5. Top Gun Maverick at 2.1. And then DC Super Pets, Invitation, Minions Still, and Moon Age Daydream all rounded up the top 10 with just over 1 million each. So it's rough out there, man. And stuff is getting pushed to next year, and it's not even a matter of waiting on people to go back anymore. Everything's open. Everyone could go back. It's the simple fact that people either, 1, can't because of finances, or 2, just won't because why should they go to the theaters? They feel like it's going to be on streaming immediately, super soon, and if not, they're at least willing to wait until like home video rentals and stuff. I don't know, man.
To be fair, at least in our area, there's a lot going on that people were doing. A lot of people traveled to LA for the USC game versus Fresno State. And then also there's just a lot of festivals going on, and baseball and football. And
last week, number 1 movie was Barbarian with 10 million. Before that, Top Gun on that $3 movie day, 6 million. And then before that, The Invitation, 6 million. Like
the last time that we went over 100 million was when was with Nope, was number 1 at that's when it opened. That's the last time. And you still,
the last $100 million movie
weekend.
Weekend, full weekend. Yeah, dude. It
was Nope. And then
been a while.
And then from there, it was almost to 1 million when DC Legal Super Pets. Not that actually had any real factor in it, but there was a little bit more of a like, there's more movies that people went to go see that were a little different. It's interesting because we were supposed to watch The Woman King. We just didn't have enough time. We had so much stuff going on that we went to go watch Pearl last night almost by force because we needed to get it off our list because we wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
But this week was coming up, and given both our schedules, I work for a TV station. She's a teacher. Mm-hmm. We weren't gonna have much time. And oh no.
Kidding.
Trouble. So we went to go watch it because or else I was actually gonna be pretty upset that I'm gonna fall farther behind in movies. But even tonight, I'm gonna go watch Barbarian. And then sometime this week, I'm gonna have to make some more time to watch The Woman King, because that's gonna be a fantastic movie. I think I've heard some pretty good things about it.
I'm just really curious as to how they present that story, because the group that they are representing did some really awful things too. So it's going to be interesting to see if they touch on any of that, or if it's a hyper focused story on this particular woman and her soldiers. So it'll be interesting.
Well, yeah, we'll see how it is. But yeah, but with movies like this, Barbarian, Pro, which I hear Barbarian is fantastic, and I can't wait to see it tonight. My girlfriend already saw it. That's not the point that I was getting to. Point is, these movies need like a these movies need like a
This is awesome. Riveting entertainment.
These movies need like a not to say that they're gonna do great, but just he's biting the camera. Schmidt, move. You're done. Go ahead.
Oh man.
like an anchor, like a big name to really kind of push them a little bit over the top. And we don't have that. Like around this time is when you need that Conjuring film that's going to do pretty well. Because let's be honest, in September you don't usually get that, big name film or whatever. You usually get a horror film that does pretty well. It was a September film.
Some family things start coming out during this time, and they're not necessarily all home run hitters, but in the past it's done more. And like I said, I get the idea of financial hardships and things like that. I understand it, but this is again an issue that has existed since before current hardships. Before the pandemic, the trend was going down, and here we are going further and further down, and it's worrying because of the whole, like I've said, man, I think a lot of premium experience type theaters will survive, but the idea of the movie theater experience as we know it is going away. Because people just won't go do it.
I don't think it's going away. I think this is, while yes, less people are going to the theaters, I still think this is less part of post-pandemic problems, given that there's nothing to really hold it all together right now.
I mean,
yes,
to a degree, but I said, the trend, man, we've been in a steady downward trend of overall ticket sales since 2002, with only slight upticks for certain big movies that come out, like an Avengers or Avatar or Star Wars, and those are the only times that you see little jumps, and they're usually not even big enough jumps to get back to the previous high. They continue to go down. And like I said, man, it's multi-layered for sure.
I just wonder also if there's a correlation between what we've talked about before, and that is the business side of things, where making movies requires money.
Yes.
And with so many things focused on streaming, you don't make as much money. So now your future movies, which future movies are now,
to a degree, for some,
you don't have as big as a budget.
Manny, are you telling me something you and I have been saying for years, that the pool of money won't be enough to float everything that you're used to, plus all the news? Are you telling me that we amongst millions of other logical thinking business people were right? Millions,
and
thousands maybe.
And I think it's just such a disservice to see. We talk about it so much. Like Hellraiser, for example, has a cult following.
Yeah.
You do well for at least a weekend in theater.
Yeah.
My argument has always been, at least give people a weekend to go see it in theaters, and then
the opportunity,
give them the chance to go experience a film the way it's supposed to be experienced.
I would love to see it happen more, man, but I don't know.
Halloween Kills is a perfect example of why that works. Because the people who want to go watch it in theaters do not care that it's on Peacock. They're gonna go watch. They want to go watch Michael Myers in theaters,
right?
And I remember that because it was right. This was last year when theaters were doing okay, but not well enough to where, you really wanted to. Streaming that was still a better option at that point, or a good option. And then. And they're going to do the same thing this year, but if you want to go watch it in theaters, you're going to go watch it in theaters. And I think we see that now anyway, where there's this giant Top Gun's not a good example, but most films, if you're going to go watch a movie, it's gonna be the first weekend.
Yeah, they are absolutely heavily front loaded these days, more than in the past. Mostly, like I said, because that whole idea of fighting the crowd doesn't exist anymore. You can book your seats ahead of time.
Yeah,
and they're assigned
that's
seats,
a
so you don't
huge
have to.
help. Yeah.
Yep, you don't have to rush. Get there early to try to make sure you get a good seat. Hell, a lot of places even do the food like right then, on via an app. So you just show up and go to the pickup line and wait on your number to be called. So the whole idea of, let's wait a weekend or something like that, that's gone. Like, yeah, sure, the price of movies has gone up, but so has everything else. But also the ease of access to movies has gone up, and that created the front loading issue, and that's what caused theaters to release on home, or not theaters, studios. That's what allowed studios to say, hey, let's release to home video faster, because everything was so front loaded. The idea of movies making more money over 4 or 5 months kind of faded away, as they only made money in the first 60 to 80 days, and then trickle into the dollar theaters or whatever.
I really have no issue with films being released on physical media faster.
Right.
I have
in general, no.
I have an issue with it being released on streaming service faster.
That in streaming, both streaming and digital, create a ease of piracy, high quality pirated copies. I mean, that's an issue, but streaming is great for the consumer until it's not. And guess what? We're at the point, guys, where it's not anymore. We're facing closer and closer to like monopolies, and one of the things that you actually wrote about last week or over the weekend, Manny, things about Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Discovery and NBC Universal. It sounds kind of crazy, but when you really start breaking down the different aspects of this, is it really that crazy to think that something like this might happen? Why don't you talk a bit about what you wrote up, Manny?
So in my piece that I wrote up about this, it's low key an opinion piece, because the whole idea is really a thought of what could happen in the future. Given what's happened with Zaslav and Warner Bros. Discovery since their acquisition, because you didn't just acquire Warner Brothers, you acquired debt.
Yes.
And that alone puts you in a really deep hole that it's hard to get out of.
Crawl out of.
Yeah, because everyone's going through it. But I think they underestimated really just the scope of everything, especially with the DCEU as kind of an anchor point with how you're going to make money at the box office and through TV shows and things like that. So I kind of ran down some of the roadblocks that they've had to navigate through, which they started off really, really by slapping everybody in the face and canceling Batgirl completely. And the problem is, this film was already in post-production. This is a film that a lot of people were waiting for, especially because it has actors and actresses that people love and cared about. Brandon Fraser, for example, he's really beloved right now. Then you have Michael Keaton was going to be in this, J.K. Simmons, and of course
Leslie Bibb herself.
Yeah, and she's
not Leslie Bibb. That's
Grace.
Leslie Grace. Or Jones.
Grace.
Okay, there you go. Leslie Bibb is actress that was in Iron Man. Sorry about that, guys.
And so without any other information what was going on, this is the first move.
Yeah.
And then things started getting quietly taken off of HBO Max that were originals that you'll never see again anywhere else.
Well,
probably.
maybe they'll try to release it on home video if they can somehow, depending on contracts.
And so that's their first move. And
Awful messaging.
No, yeah, exactly.
No messaging.
No,
No messaging.
And then also no appearance at Comic-Con. And
Nope.
and I say this because they had a presentation. They presented things we already knew.
Yes.
We saw The Rock, and that was great. That was it. We know Shazam was coming. We knew Black Adam was coming. Nothing else was said. Everything's really winding down, and everything that was on the CWs is now basically gone. The Flash is on its last season. Arrowverse is pretty much done. They changed the name to Pennyworth to something very, very stupid. And the decisions have been very, very wishy-washy at best. They had an investors call where they said we're resetting basically for the next 10 years. We're resetting, but we're using all the movies that are still in production.
Yeah.
So really contradicting message. The message also caused Walter Hamada, who's been head of DC, to say, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, a lot of people wanted him to be done a while ago too. So
yeah, but the person who didn't want to leave is now done.
Yeah.
Himself.
Yeah.
And now nobody wants to fill that seat. And I think the reason why nobody wants to fill that seat is because Zaslav said the dumbest thing in we want to find our Kevin Feige. And nobody wants that responsibility.
Yeah.
Kevin,
no.
You're setting that person up to fail, regardless
That's big
of who
shoes
they
to
are.
fill.
Yeah, because Kevin Feige had a decade, if not more, to do what he did. And you're gonna want whoever.
Well, they want to give them a decade. It's a 10-year plan, Manny.
It's a damn lie.
But it's got a bunch of weight on it already.
A huge weight.
That's the other
because
problem.
It's been failure after failure.
Yep.
And it's not even sometimes, I believe, necessarily the director or the person in charge's fault. It's the fault of investors and stockholders and bigwigs who do not understand that it takes time to develop these characters. They wanted MCU in the DCEU now. That's not how it works.
Well, look how quickly they went from Man of Steel to BVS. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Which that was okay. I didn't. My problems with that are just more on the editing side than the film.
Yeah, but they should have, instead of just rushing to Batman and Superman, you had Superman, so the next thing should have been more like a Flash or Lantern, and then a Aquaman or Wonder Woman. Those all interchangeable, but you should have had a couple of those fillers before then you bring in.
Well, they did have Wonder Woman.
BVS. No, before BVS, I'm saying, even before BVS, and then and that way you almost have like two phases before you get to your Justice League.
Yeah, but then they tried to do Justice League first.
Yeah,
and I mean that was a whole mess. All right, so all of this, to be said, do they have, there's rumblings that investors and others are skeptical now that Zaslav can even do anything with it, and others are even saying that he's actually just preparing to sell. Some insiders say that he just wants to sell, and so according to the Hollywood Reporter, they say that the end game is for Zaslav to sell off Warner Brothers Media, and the top suitor, somebody with knowledge from both companies, is saying that the potential suitor would be NBC Universal.
My only thing is they just, there was more than just Warner Brothers Discovery to this, but they just spent a whole bunch of money on getting Warner Brothers, selling off Warner Brothers Media again. You start looking at, well, what do they gain out of it? Do they strip it down for parts and laterally transfer a bunch of stuff over to, just Discovery? Do they sell off certain aspects, studio assets, a name, but retain, first look at anything produced. Like, I don't know, man. Mergers and things like that make sense. They're in this case, it would be awful. We're quickly looking at getting to the point where we're at like a how we are for operating systems, and I mean this on consumer level things, consumer level computing devices, not phones, not mobile. We're down to Microsoft or Apple. Are you on Windows or iOS? And I know Linux users out there, guys. I've been one of you before. I don't have a distro set up or anything like that right now, but I understand how important Linux is, because everything else, all the servers, security stuff, a lot of console OSs in the past, all of that Linux based. So I know. But for general consumers, we have two choices, and man, it's not hard to see where streaming gets to where there's only two or three choices, and I don't mean just streaming, I mean all of movie and television entertainment, to where it's two or three big umbrellas, and that's it, and that's never good, guys. That's not even real competition at that point when you look at how things used to be. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
The thing is, the only reason I really give it some weight is because Warner Brothers has been sold so many times the last few years.
Yeah.
That it doesn't seem, at this point, it doesn't seem ridiculous. And then also NBC Universal carries a lot of weight as far as they're someone who could take it and do something with it.
Yeah.
Because they're already a TV and movie powerhouse. As in, we're not just doing Travel Channel and Food Network. This is what we do, and we've done for a very long time. And adding that kind of library to their IP would really help their streaming game, which is not good right now. They're really bottom of the barrel as far as most people that have Peacock is because they love WWE, or it comes with their Comcast subscription. The Xfinity, sorry. Comcast, whatever. I think some areas is still called that. So it actually makes sense. But also representatives from Warner Media Discovery have also said that we're building this for the long term. And I did write on that piece that all these things we're talking about them that can never happen because it's early. We really haven't given it enough time to really develop. This is just us in a very spoiled position in our lives where we get Amazon Prime deliveries on the same day, Grubhub, things from the store, instant gratification.
Oh yeah.
We no longer like to wait for things
patience
to develop. Exactly. So
I'm guilty too, guys. Like trust me. There's times I catch myself acting in a way that I'm appalled at. So
yeah. I mean, this is it's just like, all right, let's take a step back, breathe a little bit, let them work, let them do their thing, because they wouldn't have bought it without a plan. Although I don't think they would have. They counted on Ezra Miller going nuts.
Yeah,
and
threatening their films.
I think they're big, and then also they should have been upfront with the things that they were going to have to cancel. Like when Zaslav gave that message of this is our plan, he should have done that before canceling things. Hey guys, listen, I know you guys love these things. I know this is important for you.
Some fat.
We are going to have to make some very tough choices in order to make this work.
Yep.
No,
in order to bring you more, we have to. And messaging sucks. And
I think that would have helped a lot, but instead they did everything. They front loaded with the things they were doing, and then their explanations were very vague. The one thing I did also mention,
they were numbers based, and
People don't care about numbers. All they want to know is why the hell was something they were looking for canceled.
And I'm a number, like, I appreciated the numbers thing, and I was like, God, it makes perfect sense to me.
It doesn't mean I wasn't mad about it, but yeah,
doesn't mean that I agreed. It doesn't, and even when it happened, the first thing I said was like, I get it, 100%. I can back that up from a business perspective, but even I immediately was like, they should have said something, that this was not messaged correctly. Messaging softens the blow. It doesn't mean that people still wouldn't be upset, but if you prepare and then give context, it would go smoother. So
and then their messaging when it came to, all right, no booth at Comic-Con, no presence really at WonderCon.
You start thinking they're saving it up for a banging ass fandom.
Yeah. And then what happens? Fandom's canceled. And what was the reason? Because we want to focus on live events. And everyone's like, live events, you just missed Comic-Con. So
I don't think I've seen anything big announced for New York either. So.
No, they're not. They're bringing Pennyworth, which is nice. I like that show. They killed the name. I don't know. It's like it was doing fine for 2 seasons. Why did you have to go and try and make it? I don't know what they were trying to do with it.
I don't know either.
Yeah, so it sucks, but yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. This is the drama behind the scenes with Warner Brothers is more appealing than some of the stuff that they're releasing now. So
yeah,
it's kind of a headache though. It's kind of embarrassing.
It is. I'll tell you one thing that I am excited about.
That and Venom some people 3 started filming.
No, shut up. One thing no, the Constantine sequel, Manny, not a Hellblazer movie. I understand that, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't call it Hellblazer.
This was
most people won't know what it is.
Well, not just that, but like there's a lot of changes to the character and style and things like that. But this was a good movie. It's kind of like Resident Evil is a great action zombie flick. It is an awful Resident Evil movie. It's trash. As a translation of the game, or an adaptation of the game, it is garbage. As a zombie flick, love it. I can watch the first Resident Evil all the time, anytime. That's how I feel about Constantine, man. It's just a Rachel Weisz and Keanu Reeves are both great in it. Shia LaBeouf is this is like gone off the deep end Shia LaBeouf, so no one's like just angry at him or anything like this. This is before Transformers, guys. Like, I like this movie. What do you think, and how do you feel about a sequel?
It's fine. Like I'm like, oh, cool. At first, when somebody like mentioned it to me, I was like, not sure. I was like, I thought it was a rumor, and I looked more into it. I was like, oh no, yeah, it's a thing.
Variety.
It's interesting. It's interesting because Matt Ryan is beloved so much right now as Constantine.
Yes, I know that much.
That it's kind of an eye roll when you think about it. But then again, also people don't know what they want. But I think this is a big enough name that it's okay. And if you're like, oh yeah, because you remember it, and we'll see what happens. On that same note, J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark is Dead at HBO Max. But so is Madame Xandu, which they were doing. But the bright note with that is the report also says that it's very well done, and that one is probably going to be shopped around. And I think that, in my personal opinion, the proper landing spot for that would be Netflix, because of what they did with like the Sandman. I have a feeling that Netflix is gonna have in the next few years a little library of DC over there.
I would love to see a little library of DC magic, like magic oriented shit. Like, let's get in frack. What's her name?
Are you talking about Zatanna?
Yeah, let's get her and her dad's backstory in. Like let's do that. Like,
Let's do that. Bring back Swamp Thing. Because
magic stuff,
yeah,
like supernatural.
Give me some Dead Man, maybe.
Let's do that. Yeah, sure.
And,
sure.
And I think Netflix is a good place for that because I think they did with Sandman, and so like we could put like more obscure DC things
and
over
Lock
there.
And Key was, I know Lock and Key's not DC, but Lock and Key was good as well. The first season was good.
I still need to watch that. I've never finished.
And then there's another one. It's not really, it's sci-fi, it's not magic, but Umbrella Academy again, but it's that fun, darker, edgier, potentially more fun, like you just said. So yeah. Like I said, I'm down for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I think that sequel's a little bit long overdue. So we'll see what happens, but I think now there's a bar though with Constantine, because when that came out, nobody really knew the character very well.
Yes, and now there's
a higher bar thanks to
great expectations. Yes.
Yeah, great comics, great series, great interpretation of the character, animated films. The character has gained a lot more notoriety than before. Not to mention the character was also featured a female version in the Sandman. That I think that now the bar a little bit higher. So we'll see how it does. Because Keanu has so much range. He does.
It's like I said, tentatively excited. Last thing, gotta rant, man. Gotta yell at Sony and Manny, a freaking Karate Kid sequel.
I don't know, man. I saw that and
Hollywood Reporter, summer 2024, a Karate Kid sequel described as return to the original Karate Kid franchise. Isn't that what?
That's what Cobra Kai is.
The amazing Cobra Kai. We're only 3 episodes into season 5, because like I said, Christine got ill. But holy crap, is it not fun? Like all first 3 episodes, I'm like, yes, this is gold. Like way better than season 3. But holy crap, man! Like what are you doing, Sony? What are you doing?
Sony's gonna Sony, man.
Freaking idiots.
Sony is gonna Sony.
Yeah.
So. And Venom's starting to film too, so I know you're excited for that.
Jesus. All right. Anyways, I just had to do that final rant right there, guys. Do check out LRMonline.com every day for all your entertainment news needs and opinions, written articles, reviews, interviews with celebrities, also available at the LRM Online YouTube channel. On the podcast network, we've got things for the Rings of Power, our review of the Ring series, Marvel Multiverse Mayhem, and the Cantina do Marvel and Star Wars reviews and news respectively. Anime-Versal Reviews, Daily COG itself, and of course Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast available on most apps and at Sounder. So check us out there. And all of those go on the YouTube channel, but you also get access to AVR Squared and Genre Shot trailer reactions. So yeah, subscribe. Manny, anything else you want to say?
Yes, I do. Real quick, Rockstar Games, you deserve to be hacked because we've been waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 for freaking ever. So
the alleged
disappointed
video.
We don't care because we've been extremely disappointed for so long. Instead of giving us Grand Theft Auto 6, we've gotten 12 different versions of 5. So screw you and your non Grand Theft Auto 6 release.
You're the bad guy. You deserve that. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.